Awesome. So this picture here is a bunch of us at the Educators of Color Association retreat. We've been leading these retreats for about 3 years now. We do a spring retreat and a fall retreat, and it's mostly educators of color from across the state. We get together, we relax, hang out, have bonfires, just have a great time. And one of those was actually at the Common Ground Center, which is where we're going to be having the camp. And we spoke to some folks there. They were saying they really wanted to host a BIPOC summer camp. We didn't have time that year to lead it and just have been thinking about it ever since, because the time that we spend together, and specifically the time we spent together there at the Common Ground Center, was just so amazing. We left feeling like completely new people, just being in a space where it's all Black and brown folks, all Black and brown adults, just like so supportive, so much love. None of the stuff that we have to deal with in the outside world was existing in that space. We were just like in our own beautiful little supportive bubble. And we were like, we have to make a space like this for all of the kids we work with. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, we're just really, really excited to be able to host that. We're being supported by the Haymarket Foundation, Vermont Humanities Alchemist Foundation, and we're getting all of these sort of this grant stuff, so we don't have to charge everyone a ton of money. No one's going to be turned away for lack of funds because of that, which is really great. It's a sliding scale for everyone who'd like to join us. And we are doing like a donation through a fundraising platform, and we can talk a little bit about that later.
Thanks, Laura. I'm going to talk a little bit about our mission and our guiding principles. So we created a small mission statement just to let you know, the values behind this camp: to bring youth of color into nature and create opportunities for connection, healing, and joy. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing over 3 nights and like the 3 days that we'll be together. We're going to have a safe brave space for us to be vulnerable and be there for each other, be in the outdoors, and have some fun. Our guiding principles: affinity groups inspired self-empowerment and build confidence and resilience. We want to build relationships with our youth across the state, and so they have a space to connect and meet each other. Queer, trans affirming, build empathy and care for our community and for each other and for ourselves, and just take pride in who we are. Back to you, Laura.
So just sort of the nuts and bolts of what we've got going on here. So we are prioritizing youth who are outside of Chittenden County, but as of today, or as of very close to today, we're actually opening it up to other folks who are in Burlington, Colchester, that sort of area. So if you know anyone, please feel free to spread the word. We're definitely accepting applications from there. And so it's going to be at the Common Ground Center, as I mentioned, in Starksboro. That is sort of a little bit south of Middlebury. It's very central Vermont. We will be helping to provide transportation for anyone who needs it. We're really working hard to just make sure there are no barriers, no money barriers, no transportation barriers, like ability status, anything like that. It's going to be August 11th to the 14th. So you would arrive sort of midday on August 11th and then leave midday August 14th. So those first 2 days are like half days. And then the middle ones are full days. And it is sleeping there in cabins every night. They're beautiful cabins that were built by Yestermorrow Design Center. I don't know if you all know Yestermorrow, but they just have like beautiful little, special editions and funny shaped windows. And it's all built from wood that was like harvested from the land. And it's just, they're really, really nice, beautiful, comfy cabins. So we'll be sleeping in the cabins. You'll get to not choose who you sleep with, but who you sleep in the cabin with, but sort of pick, we'll be helping to foster relationships, find people who are similar age. If you have like genders you prefer to be in the cabins with, all that type of stuff, we're going to take all that into account. We'll be doing art, music. There's a beautiful pond with like a little raft in the middle that you can swim out to on a beach. There's hiking trails, blueberry bushes, basketball courts, like a little river. It's just the most amazing space. It's 700 acres. There's so much. There's really everything you could dream of there. And then we'll also be doing some like education, healing circles, things like that, just so we can like bond, connect. And then the part that I'm most excited about that I keep talking about, we're going to try to end the session with a big dance party. We're going to bring a DJ. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yep. And again, as I mentioned before, it's a sliding scale from $25 to $400, which is like the actual cost of the camp. But no one is turned away for lack of funds. We're not going to, mine into your personal history and your taxes from the past 5 years to like prove anything. You know what you can pay and what you can't, and you just let us know. And that's all we really want to hear, because we want this to be accessible and available to anyone who could possibly come. Dana, pass it back to you.
Yes, accessibility, you just said it. And like you said, ability status, we are accepting all abilities. We will do our best to find transportation, like Laura said, for all campers in need. We'll have some carpooling going on. The Alchemist is donating gas cards if families need gas money to bring their student to camp. And we could also provide subsidized transportation costs. Financial needs, like Laura said, should not stop campers from attending. And even if $25 is too much, just let us know in the application process and we'll figure it out. We ask about your accessibility needs in the application process. So we are sure that we have everything that is needed. Examples of accessibility modifications would have the modifications during physical activities, when we go out hiking, swimming, any sports that we do, any crafts that we do, providing audio versus printed reading, scent-free space, dietary restrictions. We'll provide different options for our youth so everybody could engage in the process. Kayla.
Okay. So we have two different planning committees, one that's focused on logistics. So thinking of like making sure everyone is able to get to camp, thinking about how we should train the camp counselors, thinking about like the rules and expectations for camp, that type of stuff. And then there's a curriculum planning committee, which is going to focus on what should the schedule be, what type of activities should we do, what should we learn about. And so there are opportunities to get involved in planning the camp before actually attending it, if that's something you're interested in. And we also, we just had an Educators of Color retreat like a week and a half ago. And so we brought up the idea of the camp at the Educators of Color retreat and asked everyone for thoughts on like things we should include and things we should keep in mind as we're planning. So it's not just Laura, Dana, and I that are planning this camp. We want to involve a bunch of people in it to really think, to like come up with the best ideas for camp. So I'll pass it back to Dana.
Yeah, so I'm going to go over some expectations in our
Dana's
our policy. Oh, am I not?
You're kind of present, Dana. I can share it. So some of the policies and expectations we're thinking about is, can you hear us, Dana? Okay. Is being open to trying new things, taking care of yourself. So if camp can be overstimulating, and so if
what's going on? I thought I was still frozen for that. Are you there? Are you there? Okay, I'm gonna try this one. Could you hear me now? I'm just not gonna have my video on. Is that cool?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was like, everybody, I didn't know what was happening. I love Zoom. Okay, sorry. So I'm going back down to, okay, so our policies and expectations are, we're not allowing any devices during camp. And I know that's a big ask, and we could talk further with any families or students that would like to talk about that beforehand. Of course, no drug.
Okay. I'll take over.
Wait, hello.
Dana.
Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything I said?
Yeah, the last thing I heard was, of course, no drugs or alcohol.
Yes, will be allowed at camp. I'm sorry, if it does it again, I'll just stop. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay. We ask that you're open to trying new things. Things might be difficult and new. And so we just ask that, again, be vulnerable and try new things and trust that we're all doing new stuff together. We ask that you take care of yourself and communicate any of your needs throughout the whole time and seek collective liberation. Go ahead, Laura. I'm muting.
So just a little about what you'll need to bring. We'll, send out a packing list, but you'll need like outdoor clothes, raincoat, things like that, some sneakers, hat, sleeping bag, sheets, sunscreen, flashlight, water bottle. And again, with trying to minimize barriers, we'll have all of these things available to folks who don't have them. We would never expect anybody to go out and buy a whole outdoor, a shed full of stuff to bring with them. So we'll have sleeping bags, we'll have all that for folks. And when you apply or when you let us know, when you do your welcome packet, you'll just let us know if you need those things, and we can also provide them.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, so how you can get involved. For BIPOC youth, apply for camp, share it with other youth. We still have spots open. So if you know other youth who may be interested in this camp, please share it with them, including youth in Chittenden County. And for BIPOC adults, you can be a camp counselor, help plan the camp. You can join the camp for a day to lead activities or help help prepare the food. And for white youth and adults, share about this opportunity with BIPOC youth and help us fundraise. We have a fundraiser happening through Mighty Cause. And can Laura or Dana, can you put that in the chat? We definitely need help fundraising and would really appreciate the support. Another thing for BIPOC youth, you can also help plan the camp with us, and you'll receive a stipend for your time in planning. Okay. So that's it for our presentation. So now we'll move to Q&A. Feel free to add questions to the chat or unmute and speak or raise your hand, whatever you feel comfortable with. And if you don't want me to record your question, I can pause the recording. Just let me know. And if you want your question to be anonymous, you can send me a question, send a question directly to me through the chat, or Laura or Dana.
Is there any way, or is there any reason why you chose August?
Those were the only dates available that Common Ground had.
Oh, okay, because yeah, I'm actually here for my son, but that time he will be traveling. So that's why I want to know why did you go from June, July to August. So thank you.
Oh, it's such a bummer that we're gonna miss your son. I know it's really hard. It was so hard finding those dates and picking the right one. We're like, oh, early, people will still be tired from school and late. So yeah, it's a bummer. We would love in the future to have it be a little bit longer, pick the dates differently. So we do want this to be a recurring thing. So we'll keep you on the mailing list.
Yeah, thank you.
I see one question, will there be a nurse at camp? And yes, we will have a nurse. And again, everyone that we're going to be hiring, having on staff and on the campus at large are all going to be BIPOC adults.
I can answer the next question.
I like this question.
The student wanted to know what we were going to talk about. And so we do have some curriculum planning that has been done, like Kayla said, at the Educators of Color retreat, but we're waiting to get youth on our organizing with us so we know what we're going to be talking about, and the rest of what we're going to be talking about is going to happen organic and just see, we're going to go with the flow and see what happens. But we are going to have some some themes that we will be doing, but we just don't know what that looks like quite yet. So if that 14-year-old would like to be part of the planning committee for curriculum, we would love to have you.
And I think a lot of it is going to be by choice. So we won't say, all right, we're all going to sit down and have a workshop about this thing. It'll be this, during this section, you can choose to go do tie-dye with Dana because Dana is a professional tie-dyer, or you can choose to sit and sometimes we might do journaling, or we might do a art thing, or we might do a little book reading. Some folks have been interested in reading poems or talking about stuff. I think we might talk about, oh good, he's going to help plan. We might talk about our experiences in schools. We all have a lot of hard experiences. We might sort of come together and talk about that. So those are all things that are sort of on the table.
There's an anonymous question, where and when do we pay? So after you apply for a camp and get accepted, we're going to send out a welcome packet and with forms you'll need to fill out and kind of survey so that we can figure out which cabin to place you in. And at that point, we'll ask you to pay then. It might be a month before camp starts. But we're also flexible. If you need to pay later, that's totally fine. Very flexible. And you can pay online on the coalition's website. You can pay by check, PayPal. If you only have cash and need to take that, we can figure out how to make that work as well.
And I don't know if we mentioned ages actually, but we're doing 14 to 18. I had one senior the other day who was 19 and they had just turned 19, but they're still a senior in high school. And I mean, Dana and Kayla, I don't know, we hadn't talked about this, but I was like, I think that's fine. We're just trying to keep that cohort of sort of high school age kids.
The phone question, will they be able to use the phone if they need to call home? Yeah, of course. We hope to have like the contacts for everybody, and we'll figure out like if they're homesick or they need to just check in, and that's like one of your requests, parents to just check in. We'll figure out a way for them to check in through a phone once a day, or what they need. We just want to make sure it's a true nature camping experience. And plus, it's really hard because there's nowhere to plug in the phones. And also we know that it's like spotty service. And we also just don't want devices as part of this experience.
Yeah, and Laura and I will have phones on us throughout the camp, and parents can have we'll have like our phone numbers, so if you need to contact us right away, you'll be able to.
The food question is a great question. There's an industrial sized kitchen there, so it is all going to be freshly prepared. I think we've been talking about maybe contacting like local farms to try to get some like really great quality food. But we're going to try to make sure that we have like an array of things, so if we have some like freshly made mac and cheese, and we'll also have broccoli, and we'll also have mushroom, lots of things that you can put together depending on what you like. That's teen friendly, but also healthy, and also has some options. And is not slop that we sort of like mix together and throw in a tray, but is also not too fancy that nobody wants to eat. We're not going to feed you salads every day and say you have to be a vegetarian. So we're going to match everybody's dietary restrictions. We really want to have snacks available at all times. So like a little snacking area. You pop in, you can just grab a drink and an apple and some crackers or whatever. Hungry kids nobody wants to deal with hungry kids at all. So we want to make sure everyone's fed and happy the whole time. And if you do have requests or specific things, if you're like, look, I only eat grilled cheese and you need to make me one every day, you can put that in your application. We can try to figure it out. We'll see. Pizza, heard, yes.
And we'll also, just so you know, we're going to have breakfast every morning, a light lunch, and then like a nice sized dinner with the snacks. So you will have 3 meals a day. You don't have to catch your own fish out of the pond to eat.
There's another anonymous question. Can you tell me about the scholarship opportunity? So we actually aren't going to have scholarships. It's just a sliding scale, which means you just pay what you can. We're not going to ask you how much you can afford or determine how much you can afford. It's just paying what you can. Totally trust system. If you can't pay anything, that's fine.
And that'll be, you determine that your own self. It's sort of like a little box you check. That's in the application. And is it also in the welcome packet? We're gonna double up. I think it might be in the welcome packet too, just so we can keep track of our numbers. But yeah, you just tell us, and then that's the end of it. And I don't think we're capping, it's not like, well, we have 4 scholarships available. We want this available to all kids who can come. And sort of, Jessica, related to your question, we're going to try to have about 20 kids. So if we have 20 kids and everybody who signs up is like, I can't pay, we're going to try to figure it out. And we're planning on having about a 4-to-1 ratio. So for every 4 kids, there'll be 1 counselor, and there will be a counselor at night in the cabins, just to make sure everybody is safe and, not like having to be alone in there. And there'll be about 4 kids to a cabin.
For the staffing info, I'm gonna put the camp counselor application into the chat. And it is due June 15th. And we'll have what do you call it? Like a training session, probably in July. Just give me a minute to put it into the chat.
And if you have any questions after you like listen to all the information we gave out, because I know it was a lot of information after you process, please email any of us and we'll get right back to you. Are you going to be sharing the slides, Kayla, to everybody here?
Yeah,
Just
I
so they could look at it? Okay.
can.
Awesome. Any last questions? Thanks, Lynn. We are way too excited. I'm just trying to keep it in right now, but I'm so psyched.
I just want to say one thing, please spread the word. If you know anybody that you think would be interested in the camp and they fall under the umbrella of what the BIPOC camp is looking for, please get them the information because we would like the camp to be filled. And so like Laura said, we're going to continue hopefully the camp year after year. So be one of the OGs.
Awesome. I think I'm happy to stay on for a second if anybody has any last little thing. And I think that's all we got for you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.